Welcome to another episode of another motherfucking podcast, but not just any old regular episode. We here at another motherfucking podcast, love Halloween. So welcome to the final spooky episode of the month. I am your host, Saved by Paris. Please welcome the pod team, the dynamic duo, Sarah Hellburn and Patty These Nuts. And also, please welcome my guest, the Thanos of podcast himself. Ladies and gentlemen, the host of the Baseball Banter Podcast, Ajaye. Welcome to the podcast, your debuting episode, if you will. Say what's up to the people.
Hey, buddy. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Real quick, plug yourself. You got a lot of projects, so...
I do, man. Yeah. So I got the VVNC studios where we do all the other podcasts, the Baseball Banter, the Semi-Social Movie Club, and then the Underground Sounds podcast, a branch that you've been on many times for the Underground Sounds local scene, everything arts and music. Baseball Banter is just a crude, dark, ridiculous comedy that has nothing to do with baseball. You can find that on. Yeah. No. We the theme is that we are the bench warmers that during a game we don't ever get put in, so we sit on the bench and shit talk things and everybody else, and so there's that. You can find the Baseball Banter podcast on any platform you can find podcast, or at Instagram on Baseball Banter Podcast, and then at Underground Sounds Podcast and at Semi-Social Movie Club Podcast. And I just got done with one before, so I've been on a roll today with this. But, man, this is the first time I've ever actually got to guest on an episode and not have any of the, no responsibilities. Yeah. I'm just along for the ride, so I really enjoy you having me on here, bud.
Well, man, thanks for being on here. I've been on many episodes of Underground Podcast. Hope to get that Baseball Banter and another motherfucking podcast crossover.
We will.
But until then, it's spooky season, man. Real quick, Sarah. I have to bring this up in the spirit of Halloween, but you have yourself a real life spook story happening in your household. You want to talk about that real quick?
All right. But first, I'm going to preface this by saying anybody who knows me or has heard me talk before knows that I am super not about stuff that can't be explained by science. In my head, everything can be explained by science. Magic, as we know it, is just science. But I do know that there's things that we don't understand. And one of those things is spirits, ghosts, what happens after you die, because that's something that's really, really hard to measure, really hard to figure out. So that being said, I live in a home, me and my husband and our kids, we live in a home where an old woman did die in the room that we sleep in. And in fact, we don't use the bed, but we still have the bed that she died in.
I thought you meant you don't use the bed at all. We sleep on the ground next to it.
No, yeah, we just sleep on the floor. No, we have the bed she died in, but it's in our kind of guest room, I guess, that my son's father is using. So he's sleeping in the bed where she died. Oof. Which is, I couldn't do it. He don't give a shit. I'm like, bro, that's she was Patrick's stepfather's mother. She died from cancer, was it 3-4 years ago? Something like that. Right before we moved in. That was the whole reason that we got to move in, was because his parents got it from the estate and are renting it to us. So, kind of just worked out in our favor there. And we've never had any weird experiences. I've never felt anything. And normally I'm super in tune with that shit. If I walk into a house when there's something going on, I just know it. I grew up in a haunted house, my super haunted, scratches on the inside of my basement door haunted. So yeah, that's a story for maybe another time. But recently,
those stories?
There's a lot of stories from my childhood. Maybe I'll get into it. If we have time. But here, was it yesterday or the day before? Day before. All right. I was in the shower and my daughter was in the bathroom with me hanging out. And this is the bathroom that is connected to the room where the woman died. And if anything weird was to go on, I honestly feel like it would be in that bathroom because I feel like she spent a lot of time there. And I know that might sound weird, but she was very sick. So I feel like she was in the end there. If she wasn't laying in that bed, she was in that bathroom, you know? And so my daughter, I was in the shower and I guess I was taking a long time. And she was like, you know, Mommy, it's time to get out of the shower now. And I was like, oh, just give me another minute. Just give me another minute. And she goes, Shadow Mommy said it's time to get out. And I was like, what? What? So I turned the water off and I'm like, I opened the curtain. I'm like, what are you talking about? Right. And I grabbed the towel and dry it off. I'm like, this is super weird. I was like, who's Shadow Mommy? Where is this Shadow Mommy? And she goes, she's right next to you. Bro, I bolted out of the shower, just butt naked with the towel, you know, bolted out of the shower. I was like, what? You know, and I like go back. I shut the curtain. I'm drying off. I'm like, Philly, don't do that to me, you know. And at this point, I'm like, I just feel kind of stupid because, like, you know, my kid's like punking me. And then she looks at the curtain, and she's like, no, don't close her in there. And then for like, it's quiet for a second. And she's like, oh, no, it's okay. She got out. She used her powers.
So like, I'm going to use my powers to get the fuck out of this house.
That's what I'm saying. In my head, she saw her like, you know, come through the curtain like a ghost, you know?
Yeah.
I was like,
the fucking move.
What the? And I couldn't get her to say really anything else. But I immediately like went out and I told Rob, my son's dad, who was home at the time, I was like, dude, she just said some weird shit. So we're going to hang out in the living room because I'm a little freaked out right now. You know? She has brought up Shadow Mommy and Shadow Daddy before. Or not Shadow Mommy, Other Mommy and Other Daddy. Like, I don't know what she's talking about when she says that, but she's like, oh, my other dad told me this, you know, the other day. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, and I've never really questioned it. I thought maybe it was just her, like, having a imagination, and I don't know. But then she referred to the other mommy as Shadow Mommy? Hell no. Hell no. What you mean, Shadow Mommy?
Yeah, I'm thinking fucking Slenderman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, if you're familiar with Coraline, like the Neil Gaiman story and stuff,
yes,
that's like the other mother and the other father. Yeah,
that's exactly what I thought of. The first time she said that to me, you know, she said, "Oh, my other mommy did that." I was like, "What? Does she have button eyes? Like, what do you mean?"
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, what I was told by somebody who I asked about this, you know, they said it's likely that she's just seeking something from me and Patrick that we're not providing, and because of that, she's like creating a fictitious character who will do that for her, and that's kind of the premise of Coraline too. And I was like, oh, I mean, like, it makes me feel bad. I'm like, what should I be doing different, you know? But then again, I'm also still in the, well, what if it's also a fucking ghost mindset, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's a lot of stuff that's like, it's super fucking paranormal. Maybe it could be explained by something rational, but maybe fucking not. I don't know.
That's insane. Yeah, I've been hitting a lot of simulation theory shit lately, just to where
it's a good thing Mikkel's not here.
I'm listening to a podcast. All right, this happened today. It happens every day, and it happens on multiple different levels. But one example that fits perfectly is today alone. So there's this other podcast that if anybody feels like going to check out, if you're a Kevin Smith fan and you're a fan of like the Askew View Askew universe and stuff, so you get the Tell 'em Steve Dave guys, which is actually Q from Impractical Jokers, and then Walt Flanagan and Brian Johnson from like Comic Book Man and Kevin's friends. Yeah. Anyways, I'm listening to the back catalog of that. And so this episode I'm listening to just so happens to be from like 2013. And they're talking about a lion, some lion video about this guy that trained or followed this lion, or this camera crew followed a lion for like 15 years. And they're going on about it. So then I'm like, I'm doing something and I pull up Facebook, and the first thing that pops up is my friend Kevin posted, he's a tattoo artist. He posted a picture and was like, did this cool lion tattoo today. And it was the first thing that pops up. And I was like, what are the fucking odds? Like a podcast from 8-9 years ago. And then today, like I just pull it up about this lion, and And I just stopped and I put my phone down and I was like, if you're gonna do this shit, can we do it about something that like benefits me? Yeah. If this is simulation theory and this really is all thought out, then can somebody start playing some better cards for me? Because
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, if this is a simulation, I want to know who's in charge of me. I got some complaints.
Exactly. Like, yeah, who's playing my character? Because I got some issues.
Yeah. I agree. I feel that.
Well, hey, so I put a post in the Facebook group, Another Motherfucking Podcast, asking for spooky topics, and this topic suggestion comes from Alyssa S. Can we talk about the clown epidemic in 2016? And no, I am not referring to the 2016 U.S. presidential election. I'm talking about the clowns, the motherfucking clowns. What
they just happened to be. It was a year for clowns. It was a year for clowns. What can we say? That whole election was just a circus. So
yeah.
Well, dude, what if it was? There were some theories that it was. What do they call that? Publicity build-up marketing for it.
Like guerrilla marketing is what they refer to it as.
Yeah.
Is that true? Was that true, or was that just rumor?
It was never. I think it was debunked. Maybe. Another one was like okay. So looking back on it, it's like, was this funny, scary, or stupid? But like, if you like look at that year and how crazy it was. Like, not only did it come out that year, but also the Purge election year where people were dressing up as clowns in the movie and killing people. And then that was also the year of the actual election. And October's right before November, which is, when the election takes place. So, like...
Yeah, I think it was just like another internet fad where one person did it and they thought it was funny.
Well, there's like boards and threads and subreddits where people get together and they plan this shit, and it's easy for people to have these communities where it's like, we can do this across country and make a big thing, and then it became news. And I think people catch on, and anybody could have grabbed a clown costume and went and did that,
And so what's crazy is like you had people who were, it was like you said, it was like this fad, it was this huge internet thing. So you had like kids and young adults like dressing up, like trying to be a part of it. But then like in some cases there was like actual people like robbing stores with clown masks. There was people trying to lure kids into the woods and chasing after school buses. Like,
that's opportunists. Those are people that saw the fad and were like, wow, now I have a chance to do this almost anonymously. Like but
on the other side of on the other side of the coin too, you had these people doing that, like you said, taking opportunities to cause mischief across anonymity with the mask. But you also have people who were just doing it to like play into the trend and do it. But then there are people like dads and heroes that are like, I'll get these clowns, and they were assaulting these people. And like, you were in a clown costume, people would come and beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
But I get it.
I on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had people wanting to join the fun, and then you had, like you said, these Billy badasses who wanted to go hunt some clowns, go clown hunting. And
I mean, I will say though, if I'm gonna be honest with you, if a scary clown comes running at me, I'm gonna beat the fuck out of him. I'm sorry, but like, if you look like you're going to cause me bodily harm, I'm gonna harm you back. However, I'm not going to go hunting them. No, I'm going to stay away from the danger. All right.
With that being said, you're going to fight back?
Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry, but
you like
I will not be a fucking victim, bro. I will not be a victim. I think I could scare someone away yelling alone.
Just scream at them, bro. Just scream at them.
Get out. Like.
Well, y'all are packing too. Y'all are packing.
We are. That's the other thing. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to break in here because that would be stupid.
There was actually, there was actually a clown sighting not too long ago in 2021.
I'll fuck him up. Don't come near me. If you come near, because how do I know that it's not one of those opportunists? Like if I'm like, oh, ha ha ha, oh, that's funny, and then I get fucking murdered. Yeah, I'm gonna be mad as hell. So.
Yeah. It's where you notice him and you're like, hey, what's up? And then he gets closer and you keep like
You're
backing up.
wait.
Whoa.
Hey, I'm out of here. You get any closer and I will do what I have to do, sir.
Right.
These hands
I don't
turn
know.
spooky.
So what is it about clowns? What do you think? What is it for you? Is it that they're somewhere that they're not supposed to be? Like
I can tell you exactly.
There's no circus, no carnival. They're just on the side of the fucking road, and that's terrifying, or what?
Well, okay, no, but it's not just that, dude. Because I don't know about everybody else, but for me personally, and for other people that I know, even seeing clowns in a circus is kind of terrifying. And I have, not really done a lot of research into it, but it falls under the same kind of like uncanny valley thing. It's something that's human, but something's off,
Yeah.
and the face paint, the hair, it's a whole, I don't know, there's something creepy about something that's just happy and smiling and laughing. And then you have like John Wayne Gacy, there's a tie for some reason just in my head to that. I'm like, ooh,
You know what the funny thing about John Wayne Gacy is, though, is everybody associates him with the Pogo the Clown. But he never killed anybody with the clown costume. That was just like for an act he would do.
Mm-hmm.
But which is funny because
of, like, surveying things.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Why would you not? Like, why didn't he? What a waste.
I mean, if we're gonna be honest here, you are right. You had a perfectly good clown suit, man.
Well, if you took it that far, it's like you might as well have done it in the clown costume. There's an aesthetic. Like people who do those things and people who like are true murderers, they're not. There's nothing in them that's like. There's got to be a sense of horror about it. You are in it to terrify people, and so you're gonna play it up a little bit. Yeah, of course you would.
That makes sense.
Even Michael Myers, like he was, he was a monster. He was a demon, but he still put on a little bedsheet ghost outfit for fun and killed that one chick.
That's true.
So
that is true. And if you look at him in general, like it's something about the anonymous mask because you can't see him. You don't know
who's under there. Yeah.
With Jason, he's got the ski. They're the hockey mask. It's scary because it's something creepy about seeing like a decrepit, fucked up face. But it's even creepier to see a fucking blank ass mask that's just coming after you. That's terrifying. That's like some real scary.
And then just like the history of clowns in like movies and shows. I mean, we've seen like clown zombies in like Zombieland. We've seen clown aliens, if you count it, who is an extraterrestrial being. Fucking
Killer
clowns in American Horror Story. Yeah, like all that shit is just.
Mm-hmm.
Killer clowns from outer space.
Yes,
Terrifier.
Oh God, Terrifier was the one that cemented. I hate clowns. That was
that one was rough. So what is your number one like worst clown?
I mean, it sucks because I want to say it, but only because the new one terrified me so much. Mm-hmm. That I didn't watch it. I mean, just seeing him, didn't like it. Nope.
All the teeth and shit.
The teeth, the smile, like because it from what's his name? Oh God, what's his name? Tim Curry. Yes, the Tim Curry. It was more clown-like. This one, definitely more like fucking crazy extraterrestrial being, the smile, the eyes. Oh God, it was everything, dude.
See, for me, you have the horror clowns like it, but like there's something more menacing about psychological, and so I would have to say like Joker, especially the like Heath Ledger's Joker and even the recent one, Phoenix. Just how fucking like people are really like have mental issues like that, and so it's more real than the horror shit. And I would also have to say Ronald McDonald because he's
was gonna say him too, dude. You know what? He always creeped me the fuck out. Yes. Like, he's so weird, so weird.
Yeah,
especially
Ronald McDonald.
You ever watch the Adventures of Ronald McDonald and Friends? I had them hoes on VHS. If you've never watched it, Paris, I'm gonna send
Grimace.
Oh,
and you had the Hamburglar.
The Hamburglar.
Hamburglar, yeah.
What was the bird's name? The girl.
Daisy or something.
It was something generic. I remember like specifically there was a haunted house one. There was one where they got sucked down a whirlpool in the ocean, and they landed in some theme park or something. I don't fucking remember. I don't know. That shit is so wild, Paris. I'm gonna send it to you, and you're gonna love it.
Please,
you're gonna hate it, but you're gonna love it.
That
man.
That nigga started with his friends, and then he came up and left them behind, and is now the #1 cause of diabetes in America.
Well, isn't it funny how like they got rid, like in the 90s and the late 80s and the 90s, it was the mascot thing was a big deal and everybody had representation and stuff. And then now McDonald's is just like they took all that away and it's just the golden arches and their new buildings.
Yeah, mascots.
It's like black and white. It's not colorful anymore. It's not
playful. No, dude. It's like they don't really do mascots anymore. Like I don't know. They do them as people, like Wendy.
Yeah.
You know, they took her from a cartoon to, I don't know.
To bring it back around, I guess the 2016 issue kind of fucked clowns over for McDonald's.
Oh, yeah. Well, Ronald was done after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, like, nobody wants clowns at all. So that's when they started remodeling all the McDonald's.
I honestly can't even say if I've seen a clown in real life.
What?
Never?
I don't
like
think
not
so.
at the carnival or the fair or something.
No. Man,
my dad used to take me
maybe
to
like
Barnum and
Halloween.
Bailey when I was a kid.
That's about it. They used to take you where?
Barnum and Bailey, the circus.
Yeah.
I don't think circuses are a thing anymore, are they? I think
they are. No, they are. They just don't have the elephants.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up. I mean, I remember being a kid and they had a hella animals, and I was like, wow, I wonder how they get them to do that. Now as an adult, I'm like, it's awful how they get them to do that.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's man. You go there and like the camels and the elephants and stuff. They're like they look like they're crying. Man, it's terrible.
The bears, man, the poor bears, bro.
They're just miserable. It's not surprising that sometimes like acts go wrong and like lions will attack their trainers. Like, bro, you're beating the shit out of them.
Yeah. It's kind of an amazing. It's kind of an incredible thing that circuses, like for the most part, still exist because you would think the animals would be completely outlawed on it. Clowns are terrifying. Nobody likes them anymore. Like the trapeze acts and stuff, and like the other daring stunts of when they bring in the ball of death with the motorcycles and stuff. Like that's cool, but I feel like that could be a whole separate like show and doesn't have to be included in a carnival anymore. But I've only been like once or twice in my life, and I've never really that impressed.
Well, I grew up near a larger city. I'm from South Jersey, so I was very close to Philadelphia, and there was always events going on. Always,
you had a much better carnival scene, I'm sure.
Dude, not just that, but like sports. I mean, all of them: baseball, hockey, football, soccer. Anyone you want to see, you can just go over the bridge and it's right there. And that was always really nice for me. So I did go to the circus a lot as a kid, and that honestly helped cement my fear of clowns. I hated them. Like we would get to go down on the floor after the show and stuff, because like I don't know why they did that, but they just did. And like you could meet the clowns, and my dad was always like, "Oh my God, go take a picture," and I'm like, "No,
yeah,
no, please, I don't want to."
So you got any pictures of you with the clowns, or did you never do it?
Maybe I'll have to ask my dad if he's got any pictures. I'm sure he. Oh, Patrick's excited. He's gonna text my dad. No, I'm gonna have to see. I'm sure he's got pictures somewhere, probably on one of those old fucking big cameras. The fucking recording.
I saw that, AJ. Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
Spooky.
So what else did you find fascinating about these clowns, Paris?
Man, just that I always thought, I guess I didn't live in the moment at the time. I just thought it was like not something serious.
Because it was one of those things that we hear about, you read, you see on the internet, all this shit, but it doesn't happen here. Like all these phenomenons, all these trends people do, and it's like, those don't really exist to me. I don't ever see them in person. They're only like on the internet.
Yeah.
That is true.
Only thing
maybe we should be
is racism.
True. So much racism.
Maybe we should be the change you want to see in the world. So when we see these trends, we got to jump on board. We need to go get our own clown suits and populate.
Oh shit!
He
our said we got to be ahead of it.
So you got to jump on board. You're either part of the problem, or you're part of the solution.
How about this? We all dress up as clowns and we raid Walmart. Boom.
Okay.
Maybe you should cut that out.
Like I say, I've got no ties anymore.
Let me cut that. Anyways.
No, he was joking, allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah. So we've talked about clowns. We've talked about shadow mommies. We've talked about circuses. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's episode. A few of us, and by few, I mean myself, Sarah Hellburn, and my guest, Ajaye. We've all brought urban tales to truly set the mood for Halloween. And suggestion number 2 actually comes from our guest tonight. So without further ado, I'm handing this one over to Ajaye. And let's talk about your suggestion.
Thought I was going to be more comfortable up there. I changed my mind.
Hey, do what you got to do.
And so you had said you had never heard of the Dyatlov Pass incident, right?
Correct. I was waiting for you to say it because me and words just don't do good with each other.
Ask him how to say Yosemite.
How do you say Yosemite?
Yosemite.
Forever for going forward, that's how I'll say it.
That's also how Trump says it. So take it.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Man, it's funny. I haven't heard a thing about him since.
He
has, side note, we just moved on from clowns, but side note, he
going back.
He has his own social media site coming up next year.
Oh, I thought, coming out. Okay, I was gonna say I didn't think that. I thought that got shut down.
No, he did one. It didn't work out. He forgot the number one thing with social media is engagement. There wasn't a feature for that, so it was more like a blog.
It's for you to just say things and no one else can comment back.
Yeah.
It's an echo chamber.
That's what he likes. He's like, I wish Twitter. The only thing I don't like about it is I wish they wouldn't comment back. All they do is get on there.
That is so funny.
They get on there and they talk about how much they hate me, and it's really, really bad. It's really bad.
He would outlaw talking shit about him if he could have.
Oh yeah.
I promise you he was working on it. That bill got slipped onto the desk every other week. They're like, we can't do this. You know this. I was going to say his name. Can't even think of his first name. Donald. It doesn't even matter.
Donald.
Oh, shit.
I know another clown.
Okay, wait.
Donald.
So Patty tells me that on his social media site that's coming out next year, there's the number one rule is that you can't talk shit about Donald Trump.
Mm.
What does that sound like to you?
Sounds like Vladimir.
That's what I'm going to make one exclusively for that. I've got a plethora of usernames. I'll just keep starting them over.
Dude, all right, everybody, we should all just come up with a bunch of throwaway accounts and we'll just spam the.
We're going to be the clowns of his social media account.
Boom.
We're starting the trend right now. Here's the trend. It's starting. What is it? October 25th. When does it come out?
2021. You heard it first on Another Motherfucking Podcast.
October 31st. Another Motherfucking Podcast.
Schedule and a takeover.
Wait, don't say that.
Okay, cut that too. But
they might take that a little seriously.
Nah, it's a joke, allegedly.
I'm just gonna start throwing allegedly into my sentences. Yeah. I'm not gonna be on the hook for anything.
Nope. Allegedly. Well, especially when you do podcasts, you can't talk about people unless you say that word. Then you can say anything you want, allegedly.
It protects you and the media. Protects the media.
Exactly. So
allegedly.
Allegedly.
This is a lot of this is based on a lot of allegations as well, because it still hasn't. So there was a new release, and I'll find out the latest information on it, but I believe it was last year. I think I was working with you at the time, and the release came out that the Dyatlov Pass had been figured out, whatever the incident was, this phenomenon that I'll get into. they said that, it was an avalanche, and that just doesn't make sense. So we'll get into it. It's from Dyatlov is a Russian pass that goes over a big Ural mountain. So it was an event in which 9 Russian hikers died in the northern Ural Mountains between 1 and 2 February 2nd or 1st, because this Russian stuff, the translation is off. In 1959, for uncertain circumstances, they experienced trekking group from Ural Polytechnical Institute. So it was a group of 9 people who were all like scientists, and from this institute went up there, and they were all well trained like hikers and outdoorsmen, and they did a lot of bio research and stuff. And so, led by Igor Dyatlov, had established a camp on the eastern slopes of the Kholat Cycle, which is actually there, Kholat. It's Kholat. There's a game on the PS4 called Kholat, and it's kind of like a game based on Dyatlov Pass. And so it kind of has like skinwalkers and stuff in it, because that's some of the theories that took place. But during the night, something caused them to cut their way out of their tent and flee the campsite while inequitably dressed for the heavy snowfall and sub-zero temperatures. They left their tents, and they were just like, they didn't have shoes, some didn't have clothes. Something terrified them so much that they booked it out of there, up in this in Russia, which is Siberia, where like it's cold as shit, man.
Yeah.
After the group's bodies were discovered, an investigation by Soviet authorities determined that 6 had died from hypothermia, while the other 3 had been killed by physical trauma. 1 victim had major skull damage, 2 had severe chest trauma, and another had a small crack in the skull. 4 of the bodies were found lying in running water in a creek, and 3 of these had soft tissue damage to the head and the face. 2 of the bodies were missing their eyes. 1 was missing its tongue, and 1 was missing its eyebrows. The investigation concluded that a compelling natural force had caused these deaths. Numerous theories had been put forward to account for this unexplained deaths, including animal attacks, hypothermia, avalanche, katabatic winds. I'm not even familiar with that term. Okay, that makes sense. Infrasound-induced panic, military involvement, or some combination of these.
I have heard of this story. It sounds very familiar. Weren't that you said the bodies, weren't they found like kind of in random various areas too, or some shit?
Like laid out.
Yeah,
they were.
Some of them had damage, but it was like they just couldn't. Nothing was consistent. Like everybody had different things going on.
Well, like they said, one of them had both eyes ripped out.
Right.
One of them had their tongue missing, and the other one had like both of. It didn't say on here, but there's another report that had like one of their hands. Both of their hands were ripped off, but it wasn't like from what an avalanche would have caused. It was like tears and lacerations, and so the Russia opened a new investigation into the incident in 2019. So this is that update, and its conclusions were presented on July 2020. That an avalanche had led to the deaths. Survivors of the avalanche had been forced to suddenly leave their camp in low visibility conditions in inadequate clothing and had died of hypothermia. Audrey Kurakov, deputy head of the regional prospector's office, said it was a horrific struggle. There was no panic, but they had no chance to save themselves under the circumstances. A study led by scientists from ETH Zurich, published in 2021, suggested that the type of avalanche known as a slab avalanche could explain some of the injuries. I still just don't feel like an avalanche. And so, unless did they hear like the rumble did they hear the rumble and they got out and was like, oh shit, it's coming. And then they ran and tried to get away. But that doesn't explain like how an avalanche is just going to like rip 2 eyes out of one person, but no other eyes out of anybody else.
Right. I mean, like maybe like the eyes popped out because of like the strain or some sort of pressure from the snow, or maybe the dude with the tongue bit his tongue off. But like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like those injuries would be consistent with that type of accident. I mean, maybe animals were involved, but even then, like, those were super specific injuries. You know?
Yeah. Well, this happened in 1959.
Right.
This new research came out in 2019 and then released on 2020. Why that long after? I mean, we're talking what, almost 60, 70 years after?
But well, how long did it take them? Have they found all the bodies? Do we know that? Have they been found? Like, that's I don't know.
Yeah, well, because there were 9 and they found all 9.
All
And
of
they
them?
said this other thing said the survivors of the avalanche. There were no survivors. So I don't know what avalanche, unless you're talking about like survivors that were in the area when
In
the
the
avalanche,
area,
like it's
maybe.
other surrounding areas.
Probably. Well,
I
maybe
just feel like that's something they would have found right away and not like all these years later.
Well, maybe like how long did it take them to find the bodies? Just I don't know. Maybe they were buried under snow. Were they just missing for a long time? What, like, when did they find them? Do you know?
I'll have to look around and see on that because
it sounds like some like fucking superstitious or some ritual type shit because like
right.
If it was an
they
animal,
were thinking that or like a fucking Yeti, man.
He was just
like Pat's fault monster.
Oh yeah.
Nice correlation right there.
Yeah.
Or connection. But no, like you know, if it was an animal, it like you said, it wouldn't just be the eyeballs on one person and tongue on the other. It'd be like fucking all of their like fucking
everything.
It would be their meaty bits, their thighs, you know, like.
Well, see, this is a conversation I like to spark about it because I never even thought like you're like it wouldn't have been something animalistic because they would have all been torn to pieces. But the ways in which the pieces that were left are very specific. And like you said, almost maybe like ritualistic or what's up in those. If this leads to another, like I said, a whole nother phenomenon called skinwalkers. And those are a big deal in Native American culture that they take the form of like these big deer, like hanging, rotting flesh creatures. And they're supposedly the souls of dead Native Americans, that if you were like a bad person, a Wendigo, exactly.
Okay.
There's actually another video game. Sorry, I will relate anything to a game. Pretty popular I think it came out in 2015, Until Dawn. Fantastic story-driven game, and then it is based on Wendigo because the director of a movie from like the early 2000s called Wendigo, his name is Larry Fessenden, and he helped write that game, and I didn't know that was coming. And so whenever it had like these Wendigo in it, because I'd watched this movie like it was on cable whenever I woke up at my dad's house and it was like 4 a.m. and the wind's blowing and I happened to turn this movie on and it was called Wendigo and it was this terrifying thing. And so I knew it from a young age, but when I played that game and then it comes out and I was like, oh shit, that's
they like brought it back.
Yeah. But then the dude comes out on screen on the game and I was like, wait, that's the guy from the movie. And put all the pieces together and you research it and it's a really well put out.
It's like that's like an Easter egg then.
It is like a concept piece from the movie, so it's really cool. But that's cool. look up Wendigo stuff because that's terrifying too, and that's more related to like Native culture.
And I don't know if you remember, Sarah, but on the National Forest episode, we did kind of talk about the Wendigos as one of the theories for why people disappear.
Yeah, because like I said, it's a big thing in Native culture, so it's common to like America.
Yeah,
since we obviously took their land.
Right. Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So was there anything else said about this incident or?
You can find a lot of, and there's all kinds of information you can get online about very specific things. And that's the other thing is, like I said, they knew exactly how far these people had traveled. They knew exactly how long they had been gone. They knew exactly what they were going up there for. There's all sorts of exact measurements of kilometers and meters that they had traveled. And it's weird to me that, and like they said, or maybe some military involvement. Maybe they crossed into some, some black zones they weren't supposed to be in. And I don't know, man, it's a weird thing.
And this was in Russia too, right?
It was in Russia. Yeah.
Boom. Yeah. Scariest place.
Dude, Russia don't play. I
Yeah.
would not like survive in the wilderness out there. So, no.
Hell no.
Nope. It's
You
just
can never
bearing
count
nothing.
out in like stories like this, you can never count out military, you can never count out aliens, even though
Hey,
Whatever,
so
man.
as you said that, I'm reading this related reports. Another group of hikers about 50 kilometers south of the incident reported that they saw strange orange spheres in the sky to the north in the night of the incident, or on the night of the incident. So there was another group that was not like 31 miles away, and they saw these lights where the Dyatlov incident would have happened. Similar spheres were observed in Ivdel and adjacent areas continually during the period from February to March 1959 by various independent witnesses, including the Meteorology Service and the military. These sightings were not noted in the 1959 investigation, and the various witnesses came forward years later.
Atlanteans.
Atlanteans. Yep.
Atlanteans. Doja Cat.
That's crazy, man.
It's wild, man. And there's movies on it. There's podcasts of actual, like full hour-long things of people with much more in-depth research. Like I said, you can look up YouTube videos and hear people talk about it.
Yeah.
It's a really fascinating thing, to one of those that you can get into, and there's a million branches of like opportunity and possibility, And it's super fucking creepy. So you should definitely, I think you could find some of the pictures online from the scene. Or something.
I'm gonna have to look those up after this episode.
Man.
Well, from one spooky tale to another, Sarah Hellburn has a tale straight out of hell itself, the Jersey Devil.
New Jersey is hell. So.
What the fuck? What the fuck is that?
I don't mean to take up the spotlight for another second, but I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, and he's from Jersey, and that's always talking about the Jersey Devil. So I'm ready.
What the fuck is that? Yeah, I'm ready for this.
Okay. So Paris, I want to show you a picture first because I found the perfect picture. This is the picture that I was always shown as a kid, and it's kind of, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's kind of crudely drawn. But
oh yeah, we can see it.
It's got a head usually of a goat or a horse. You got those withered ass wings. Sometimes they have arms, other times they don't, and then hooves. It's just a freaky looking, weird fucking kangaroo like bitch.
Yeah, a goat with wings and a long ass neck.
Yeah, it's usually got like horns and a fucking weird ass tail too. But I mean, there's super so many different variations of it. There's a few different origin stories too, but like the main one that I was told growing up, that my mom told me, so it's also called Leeds Devil, Mother Leeds. I think her first name was like Diane or some shit. I don't know, but apparently she had 12 children, and she found out she was pregnant a 13th time and was so angry about it. She didn't want another child. She didn't want to be pregnant again. And so she cursed the child, kind of just in a fit of rage. Didn't really think anything of it. She gave birth to the child, and then it came out normal, but then suddenly sprouted wings and horns and turned into that crazy looking, bipedal winged creature. And sometimes some stories say that, immediately the child killed everybody and then flew into the Pine Barrens. Sometimes they say that he just flew away and didn't kill the family. But the Pine Barrens, I want to bring up a map because I'm going to show you where I lived growing up and where the Pine Barrens are. So the Pine Barrens are basically most of South Jersey. Let me see if I can come up with a good map. Here we go. All right, so this purple chunk is the Pine Barrens. So that's the entire state.
And so it takes up like 2/3 of it.
I lived right on the edge of the purple in here. And, I used to hear some weird shit in the woods at night. I don't know if I had an overactive imagination as a kid or if there was actually something out there, but there are a lot of people I know growing up who have sworn up and down that they have seen the Jersey Devil in the woods. And I have not personally laid eyes, but I've gone into the woods with a few people, just going searching, going hunting, because that's the thing to do in New Jersey.
That's your white instincts.
It is. Well, I never did it again after this one time that we went in. And I looked, and in between two trees, it was pitch black, but we have a couple flashlights, and I hear a fucking twig snap. I look over, I see two fucking red eyes looking at me. And I don't even, as soon as I see that, I don't even stop to look any further. I just run. Turn around and run back out of the woods. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm getting out of here. But I know some people who have said they've seen something, gotten close, pointed their flashlight at it. There's lots of videos online people have seen. I don't know if it's actually, if any of them are actually real or if it's just people catching videos of animals and stuff. Because, there are some freaky animals out there, especially you get a fucking, hunting camera at night. Sometimes them shit look pretty freaky, but I don't know, dude. I can't really say for sure if it's real, but I do know that it is something that I grew up hearing, and we would hear stories all the time. We'd have our bonfires and we would talk about the Jersey Devil, because of course that was the thing to do when you're camping in the Pine Barrens where he said
Right.
he is.
So the Pine Barrens, are they kind of like a Bermuda Triangle thing, or like the woods from the Blair Witch?
So it's weird because the Pine Barrens isn't just like a big stretch of woods. It's big stretches of woods, but there's also towns in there. So, it takes up a very large area, but there are certain spots that are pretty secluded, it's just woods for a long acreage, but those are the spots where it's really best to go hunting.
It would be really cool to do like a Jersey Devil movie and just call it the Pine Barrens.
I wonder if that's been done yet. I'm sure
if it hasn't, we are copywriting it right now. So
we definitely will, dude. I want to take a trip back.
We're just ahead of the curve on this episode.
Dude, we're getting the trends. We're getting the
lock this one in the vault, buddy. This shit is gold.
So is there any movies or
oh yeah, there's things that include it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. Let me see. Movies with the Jersey.
I think of
there's a song from Coheed and Cambria called Jersey Devil, based on the Jersey Devil.
That's right. There is, isn't there? Oh, look at that. There is one called The Barrens.
Ooh.
It came out in 2012, but it only got a 4.6 out of 10. And it says, a man takes his family on a camping trip in the New Jersey Pine Barrens and becomes convinced they are being stalked by the Jersey Devil.
Okay, so it's already been done.
Yeah.
It was a good idea.
Oh, wait, here's another one. Oh, but it apparently got only 3 out of 10. I like the sound of this one better, though. The 13th Child, which goes along with the origin story. It says, in New Jersey, the Jersey Devil, a mythical monster, is making mincemeat out of the locals. A super sleuth sets out to learn the grim truth behind the tall tale. Came out in 2002, though, so it's definitely
probably just low quality or something for it to get a low rating.
Well, I'm gonna have to watch them.
When I think of pine, what's it called? Pine Barrens.
Pine Barrens. it's the name sounds scary. Barren means barren.
Wasteland. Yeah.
Nothing. Wasteland. Yeah. And so pine, it's just a bunch of pine trees.
See, I just keep thinking of because if something like that was in Arkansas, the first thing I'm thinking is bunch of rednecks, bunch of incest, inbreeds, or something drug related. Which
it sounds like that, but it's actually really beautiful. I'm not gonna lie to you. New Jersey's super flat and super boring, but there are some really pretty spots.
Yeah.
Pine Barrens, the woods are really nice for camping in. I was a Girl Scout for a decade, and we used to go camping all the time. And I don't want to go camping ever again. I'm not going to lie to you, because now that I'm an adult, I have these fears about things in the woods.
Yeah.
Like not like really creatures. I'm more worried about other people,
especially after our national park episode. Got the pharaohs up in there.
Yes, dude. Like, I'm sorry, but at least when I'm in a house, there's a lock. You know. Patrick's like, oh, well, so, somebody could still break into the house. I'm like, all right, but I'm going to hear them. Somebody comes up to my tent and just like, I'm done, dude.
Yeah,
Where am I going to
exactly.
go? I'm in a tent. Like,
nowhere.
Yeah. At least in the house, I'm a little bit more prepared. I don't know.
And like someone could, like, the thought of someone watching you all day and night. And
I have that fear, like, seriously, dude. I have a fear of being watched. And like, I seriously get that. Being in the woods, especially like being around a campfire, it's all dark around you, know? So like anybody in the woods could like see you, but you can't see them. Oh,
I can't wait till that motherfucker goes in the tent.
Have you seen the movie Hush?
Is that the one about...
Dude, so it's a deaf woman is in a cabin in the woods, and this guy, like this serial killer comes up. Woods. Yeah, that's another good one.
Mm-hmm.
It's always, there's always a cabin in the woods. Don't go to the cabin in the woods.
Yeah. Did nobody learn anything from Evil Dead?
That's the best cabin in the woods movie ever, dude.
The originals are amazing, and I want to get a tattoo very soon. That's definitely gonna be my next one. Something with Ash.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Just get a shotgun with flowers on it, but this is my boomstick.
Oh, I think Patrick wants to get that, but I keep thinking about getting like a silhouette of him with this chainsaw hand.
Yeah.
Have you seen Army of Darkness?
Yeah. I just watched it the other night again.
Yes. So there's like a silhouette of him. Like, I don't know. I think he's got the chainsaw arm and he's holding up the gun or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I want to get that. That would be really cool. Or like a portrait of him.
It's kind of like the Star Wars thing. I think he's got like the girl on his leg and shit. And he's like, shop smart, shop S-smart.
Yes. Oh my God. That shit's so
You should just get maybe I get like just an S-smart logo tattoo. So it's super obscure.
So nobody will get it, but like the right people will get it.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we are, looks like, right at the hour mark. Are we fine with going in overtime?
I'm having a good time, man. I really got nothing but time.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the stuff I like to talk about.
I have one question, which kind of has something to do with like what the Pine Barrens would seem, and then I'd love to hear what you brought to the table, bud.
Yes, sir.
So my question is: are you two familiar with like abandoned staircases in the woods?
I have heard about.
I've heard.
So there's like staircases that you'll just go in the woods, people will be walking and there'll just be like stone staircases that lead to nowhere. Like there's nothing attached to them. And there's reports of like this one podcast I was listening to, these people were telling their story. And she said that she was like a park ranger somewhere in like Vermont. And they went out on this investigation. Something had come up in the woods and they had to go check it out. And they come back and they're on their way back through the woods in this real like backcountry area. And they stumble upon this staircase. It's like 8 or 9 steps up. And she goes to check it out. And her boss or supervisor, whoever's with her, stops and is like, don't touch those ever. And she's like, what are they? He's like, I don't know. But everybody who works for the parks department all around the country is like familiar with them. And if you don't step on them, don't stand on them, don't touch them, like just leave them alone. And they were like, have you ever done it? He was like, I won't get close to them. And nobody else will either. Like there have been reports about people getting on them and then disappearing afterwards. And they don't know where they go. They don't know where their stairs lead. But then she was like, so I just didn't do it. And you could look up pictures, just staircase in the woods. And it's weird shit too.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's real weird.
Maybe it's like a gateway to another dimension or staircase to heaven or something.
I mean, because like obviously the logical explanation was it was a house once, but
right.
But there's one house in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And
there's no trace.
Yeah, and everything broke except for the stairs. That's super weird to me.
Right.
See,
And
that
that's the thing is
reminds
if it had
me.
debris, you would be like, obviously it's a
Yeah.
dilapidated house, but there's nothing.
So when I was a kid, we had it was not in the woods, nothing like that. So don't picture like a neighborhood, a normal neighborhood. And there's a house on the hill. Is where my third grandma lived. And then there's a fence, and on the other side of the fence is this big ass hill that we would go on. And at the top of the hill was the staircases with nothing else. And as kids, we played on it. We went under it, like on the back end. There's a big ass hole, shit like that. So I never, obviously, as a kid, never thought about that. But hey, we could have disappeared. It sounds
fires,
like,
dude, man. Did you ever climb all the way to the top?
it was like maybe like five, 6 steps all the time. We played on it every weekend that we were over there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't in the woods, so maybe that saved us.
It was just like around the corner.
It was on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
Maybe that was something at one time.
Possibly.
He was like, there was a big concrete slab too.
Now that I think about it, it was a gazebo.
Actually, it was a park. I was just at the fucking park.
Jesus. I need to be smoking what y'all are smoking.
It's some
Well,
good
hey,
shit.
we talked about the Dyaltov, right? That was how it's pronounced?
Dyatlov Pass.
Dyaltov. I'm not. Fuck that word too.
Dyatlov.
Yep.
It's Russian.
It is.
We talked about the Russian urban tale. We've talked about the Jersey Devil. We've talked about clowns. We've talked about what else? We talked about spooky mommy. We talked about staircases.
Yeah. Oh,
Shadow
Dark
mommy.
Shadow
yeah,
mommy.
Shadow
Dark
mommy.
mommy. Dark mommy sounds hot.
That's a subreddit page. Dark mommies.
Hell yeah! I bet.
Well, if it's not, it is now. Ahead of the curve.
Yep. There you
Well,
go.
one of the suggestions on the Facebook group comes from Brian G, who asked us to look into the strange happenings in the Appalachian Mountains.
The Appalachian Mountains.
Appalachian Mountains, and
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's
weird.
relative.
Yes.
Fuck that word too.
It's okay.
Well, anyway, the mountains. Upon researching this topic, I was able to come across several stories, several sightings and incidents. Your occasional Bigfoot sighting, your story of the Mothman, the military. They like to test out jets or whatnot, so you might get your occasional UFO story. You even have your 100% factual stories happening in the areas, such as Raymond Robinson, also known as Charlie No Face or the Green Man. He was a severely disfigured man who enjoyed long walks at night so that he could avoid creating fear in the public during the day due to his damaged face. And he was a real person who was liked by his family and friends, but became an urban legend. And he passed away in 1985, so that's relatively recent. One thing I noticed is that there's a lot of stories, whether real or just an urban legend. So before I begin with the story to close out the podcast, I want to implore listeners, my fellow podcasters with me, to look into this place if you're interested in spooky and strange happenings. And there's a lot of stories. Let me go to this link. So this following story that I'm talking about can actually be found on the No Sleep Reddit page, and it was submitted by Worcester Street. And I'm actually going to send you guys a picture about halfway through the story when I get to a certain part. So be on the lookout for that. But the title is There's Something Unnatural in the Rocky Mountains. And so it starts out as such. We've gone to visit my wife, Sarah's family, every summer since we got married. Since we got married 4 years ago, and they live in a small town way up in the mountains. Her parents own a lot of land, so we spend our time riding ATVs and hiking trails. Sounds like the ideal dream of any white person that I know.
Good for you, Sarah.
I like 4-wheelers and shit like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I could get down with that.
And so continuing on the story, they say a while back, I took a week off of work. We drove up to spend some time with Sarah's parents and siblings. It was a good time. The week passed way too quick. Sunday rolled around and we loaded up our crappy old sedan for the drive home. Sedan.
It's on that.
We left her parents' place in the late afternoon and had started winding our way down the mountain towards the highway when Sarah sighed. Great, check it out. She handed me her phone. It showed that the highway was red with traffic for something like 25 miles on the highway. Assuming that it must have been it must have been an accident. They don't want to sit in traffic for a while, so they pull to the side of the road. And he pulls out his phone and he saw there was a long road that cut through the mountains for nearly 50 miles that would finally rejoin the highway after traffic ended. So avoiding traffic, he figured that going slow on an old windy road was better than sitting in stop and go traffic for 5 hours. Boy, was he fucking wrong. Sarah was very against the decision. Makes sense. She's from the area. When he asked her why, she just told him that she had a bad feeling about it. Still somehow convinced her that we'd be fine. Again, a motherfucking lie. So instead of turning right, they head down towards instead of turning right and heading down towards the highway, they turned left and headed deeper into the mountains. And the road turned to dirt pretty quick. That's when you know you fucked up, when you're on the dirt road.
Oh God, I've been there before. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
I'm feeling anxiety, dude. I'm there. I'm like,
and she has your same name, so it could
I know,
be you.
dude. I'm in it.
So
I'm in it right
Sarah
now.
jumped into the back seat so she could stretch out, and she recorded some of what we saw at the window. I was shocked at how deserted it was. We only passed one house over the entire hour, not a single car. Sarah recorded some video on the drive, which you can see here. Again, I'll send you guys the link after the episode. So if you want to see any of the footage or videos, photos, anything like that. We've been on the road for a little over an hour. When we came up around a hill, up and ahead, there was a single crashed car just off the road. I pulled off to the side of the road and I got out to take a closer look. Why would he do this? I don't know, but
He's white.
He's white. It's in the white person's, it's in them to check out something that just doesn't seem right. And so he grabs his phone to call 911, but realized he has no signal, not even roaming. So
That sucks so bad.
no signal, 50 miles into the middle of nowhere on a dirt road.
Why would you keep
crashed
driving?
car.
Why would you do that? Turn around.
He's too far in. He's too far in. He has to check it out.
Where does he think he's going? Where does he think? Dude, I don't understand. Okay, all right. Keep going.
All right. So he goes around to the driver's side of the car and he sees that the driver's window was shattered with no sign of the driver anywhere.
Oh, fuck. Get out of there. Get out of there.
Sarah walked to the front of the car and she put her hand on the hood. Engine's cold. That means it's been at least a couple hours since the crash, right? Are we the first ones on this road to drive by? Probably so. I told her I didn't know, but that it could be with how few people we've seen. And she pointed to the broken glass from the window. Seems like a lot of this glass is inside the car. If the driver busted it to get out, wouldn't it make sense that it'd be on the ground beside the car? She was right. Of course she was right. Women are always right. Listen to your woman. The inside of the car was littered with safety glass from the window. I looked closer and saw flecks of blood covering some surfaces too. Where's the driver though? I didn't like that. I told Sarah it was time to go and that we called somebody once we had cell signal. She agreed and we hopped back in the car. I turned the key into the ignition and I heard the rapid clicking noise that meant my battery was dead.
Oh.
I popped my hood and saw there was a bunch of corrosion built up on my battery terminal. I swore under my breath. I swore under my breath. And Sarah asked, what does that mean? I told her it meant that there wasn't a good connection between the battery and the motor and that the battery was probably dead. We could fix the corrosion, but we need a jump to get the car started. I talked the problem over with Sarah. We were already dozens of miles from her parents' place. We had no signal, and based on the car wreck, it was likely we wouldn't see any more traffic for hours at best and days at worst. On top of all that, the sun was starting to get low in the sky. We needed to find someone with jumper cables. I remembered that we passed a house a few miles back on the road. I figured it'd be best if Sarah stayed with our car on the side of the road, so I started walking back by myself. Okay, pause. Have they not seen any sort
Let's
of
split up, gang.
horror movie or this isn't Scooby-Doo. We're not splitting up.
Like, literally.
The gang sticks together.
I'm so
Gang's
angry.
all here.
Continuing on the story, it took me a little more than an hour of walking before I saw the house again. The house had a strange architecture with part of the top floor hanging over the lower floor. I saw that there was a small garage in the woods behind the house. He provides a link to the picture. Like I said, I will send that to you guys. But I walked up to the door and knocked, calling out as I did. There was no answer. I walked to a window, and next to the door, which was abandoned, I saw that there was a message scrawled on the wall. I looked closer and could just barely make out the words, and it said, "They can't see you if you don't make noise." I read it over and over. They can't see you if you don't make noise. They can't see you if you don't make noise. What did they mean? I checked my phone again, still no signal. I yelled out for help. Yells out for help. What did the message just say?
It said, "Shut up." It said, "Shut your fucking mouth," is what it said.
Exactly.
I'm so angry right now.
I yelled out for help, but heard nothing. And judging by the state of the place, I figure it must have been abandoned. On top of everything else, the sky was starting to get dark. I made my way towards the garage behind the house and kicked in the door. The inside was in fairly good condition still. There was an old cabinet against the wall. I opened it up, saw some rusted jumper cables and a flashlight sitting on a shelf. And I figured the battery in the crash car might still have enough charge to jump my car. So I grabbed both of them. And at this point, it was completely dark outside. I start walking back toward my car, and I was happy to see the flashlight still worked. Something about the house and the message had given me a bad feeling, and I was eager to get back. I was walking alongside the road when I heard a scuffling sound in the woods behind me, and I stopped and looked back for a long moment. That's when I saw movement out the corner of my eye. I turned my flashlight forward, and I saw a creature standing behind a tree. It moved its head in an erratic motion, constantly twitching. It looked like a gigantic spider with a human head. Its eyes reflected the light of my flashlight like headlights, and I heard more motion in the woods behind it, meaning that it was not alone. I locked my muscles in place, I gripped my phone hard, and I accidentally pulled the volume button, which I have set to take a picture on my phone's camera. My phone made the clicking camera noise, and at the sound, the creature snapped its head in my direction and began moving around the tree. I pulled back my arm and threw my flashlight as hard as I could behind me on the road. The creature looked back behind me and with its spindle legs started walking towards the flashlight, and I noted that it moved pretty slow. The moments it took to walk by me were an eternity, and when I saw it was a dozen yards away, I started running down the road and did not look back. I'm going to send you guys that picture. I'm almost done with the story, though.
I was going to say, that's not it, right?
Mm-mm. After an eternity, I reached my car, completely out of breath, full of adrenaline, and Sarah opened her door and got out. "Hey, did you find any help?" she asked. I yelled for her to stay in the car, ran to the crash car. I reached my hand into the broken window, popped its hood, ran around, pulled its battery out. I attached the cables I'd brought to both batteries, and Sarah turned over our car's engine. I ripped the cables off of our battery and slammed the hood shut, jumped into the driver's seat, and sped down the road. Once we made it home, I told Sarah about what happened. She started bawling and told me that she heard stories while growing up about the valley that we've been in, and that it was the reason she was hesitant earlier. She never imagined that there was anything to them. All right, that's the end of the story. I'm going to send you guys this picture.
All right.
Yeah, let me see. I need to see the picture.
All right, well, I sent the group.
Oh, you sent them? Okay.
Yeah, I sent the group chat the picture, and I texted you the picture, AJ.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Notice behind it the set of eyes.
The eyes. Yeah, there's another set.
Two more.
Yeah, I see. There's one on the down left and then on the right.
I see three. Hold on, let me turn my brightness up. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 creatures behind them.
Oh, what? Hold on. Okay, let me try that. All right, save.
Now, when I first saw this picture, I saw the story first. I was like, "Oh my god, this is a crazy story." And I got to that part, and I clicked on the picture, and I feel like this might be just so you know, just an urban story, not something like actually real.
Oh shit, dude.
You know, because it looks
Like
photoshopped.
a
It looks like a
like
creepy pasta type shit.
yeah, like a creepypasta or well, I guess sometimes there's like ARGs that you can find that like
I-
you know like it's like an alternate reality game where like people
Yeah.
play along on Reddit. You
It's
know,
crazy you said that because I just fucking was watching some of those earlier. And so
dude,
like the
they're
one where
so
like the
wild.
woman
I love that
crawling
shit.
up the wall and like yanking this other woman up the wall with her.
Oh, fuck that. Fuck that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I like them
Crazy.
because they're always like found footage ass, you know, like if you like that type of, directing movie style, you like ARGs.
Yeah.
Interactive
Man,
is what it is.
I did what you did, Paris, and I'm like editing this photo and turning all the brightness up and stuff and the black points, and it's to the left, that other set of eyes.
Yeah, and then there's a set in between the leaves.
Well, what's really crazy is why would you can't see that until you turn it up. So if it was like an edited photo, why would that not be like prevalent to see all the time? Why would you have to adjust the settings to see it in the background, you know?
And I wonder how zoomed in this photo is too, because I imagine there was some distance between them.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be that fucking close to that thing.
Because like, okay, if he was like as close as the picture makes it look out to be, the last thing I'm doing is gonna take a picture.
Literally.
Right. And not with the flash on.
Yeah. And then you just read the message saying they won't notice you if you don't make noise. Bitch, I'm backing up slowly.
Well, is that the story from the Appalachian Mountains?
Yeah. That's
Oh, okay.
and that like I said, when I was researching this topic, there's a lot of like you could find like 50 to 100 different stories. And so I thought this was the most interesting one
Yeah.
out of the several. But is it, real? Is it, I don't think it is, but who knows? It could be.
Yeah.
I think that, that some people might see some shit in the mountains, and I don't know if that's because of a psychological thing from being in a secluded area, or if there actually is some creepy stuff out there. Now, like, there is one thing that I do know, and it's that humans, we have a fear of the unknown, and to cope with that fear, we will create things. And that's why
Yeah.
we have horror movies, and that's why we create ideas about things that happen after death.
Mhm.
We don't like to think about stuff that we can't fathom, so we make up stuff. And I don't know, so maybe it has a psychological effect on people that way. Maybe they think they see these things, but it's not actually there, or it's just an animal, or maybe these things are
Yeah.
there.
And
I don't know.
from a personal viewpoint, I do think there's crazy shit that goes on in woods. And
Yeah.
my biggest
It's
theory
secluded.
is always the ferals. I always think it's some form of human that no longer is human.
Mhm.
But with that being said, there have been like reports of cross animals there, and like some of the locals, when asked about some of the strangest shit they see there, they're like, well, what you might think is strange is normal to us because we live here, type shit.
Yeah.
And they said like really the strangest thing I've seen here is a coyote mixed with the wolf hybrid.
That's
So
kind of
like
crazy.
That's got to be
mean,
creepy as shit.
That's
so
kind of crazy.
who's to say this story isn't real and he saw some
Agreed.
koala crab hybrid.
Also, like, there's definitely some people who live out in the woods, like in an area where you have to walk to get to. And those people are definitely weird as fuck. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that.
You have to be.
So
you
like
have to be. Even if you weren't
you have to.
before.
Yes, you're gonna go crazy from being so secluded. That's just the way it is. I mean, the way that humans are, we are social creatures. Even if you are not a social person, you still can't not be near other people. That's why, like, prisoners who go in solitary confinement go crazy,
Yeah.
It's something about being desocialized that's just, and it will turn a person feral. You have stories about children going off in the woods and getting raised by packs of wolves, and becoming feral, and that's some pretty wild shit too. So I don't know. There could be all kinds of shit going on.
You could have, like, let's say, like, back to the there's no other humans around. Let's say it's just a family. Well, they might fuck each other. They might have kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just some crazy shit.
Yeah, you probably got people like drug dealers out there, and like some people dumping bodies too.
You laugh at the way I said that.
Regardless, you're gonna run into some fucking creepy or shady stuff out there.
I mean, look, we're in Arkansas, where people fuck their fucking cousins for normal. So imagine in the woods, you're going crazy. Yeah, you're gonna.
He said, maybe they was fucking.
No, because they were. That shit happens. I mean, there's communities that get secluded, and for like they're cut off because of like floods or some shit, and there's like inbreeding.
Like, the hills have eyes.
Exactly.
Wrong turn.
Yeah. Those are trippy movies. Boom, man, that's the worst thing. Like movies about inbreeders. I'm glad that died out real quick.
That's shit that scares me. Because I don't know. They're more likely to have psychological problems and like.
Well, to go along with it, I think that the Wrong Turn, that whole series, I think it took place in the Appalachian Mountains.
Probably did.
Yeah. Because that was based on a true story. Yeah, give me a second. I'll look that up real quick. What was it? Wrong Turn based on true story.
Yeah. Well, where is this place at? Is this in Wyoming? Where is this at?
No. I don't want to. Can you cut me looking that up? Because I'll look it up. But Appalachian. I'm even spelling it wrong.
I'm gonna cut me saying Wyoming because people are gonna be like, nigga, Wyoming.
Appalachian Mountains. I know they're in the
he's slow.
Oh, God damn, man.
He's sleeping so hard.
North America. Mm-hmm. Oh, Pat?
Yeah, he sleeps good. Well, he says
it's the mountain range that runs all the way up through like New York. Mm-hmm. So this is, you see. So yeah, basically right where Sarah lived up in New Jersey.
That looks like
all
it's
that
through
shit.
about 5 or 6 states.
Well, it goes through like from like Tennessee all the way up. And so now let's look up this Wrong Turn shit.
Well, the message is don't go on dirt roads.
Don't go camping. Don't go in the woods. Don't go on dirt roads.
Don't go up the staircase.
There's no
staircase. From clowns.
Yeah, it happened. It took place in West Virginia.
And he's secluded area.
Right in the hearts of the Appalachians.
Yeah, that's the heart. Yeah. Well,
damn.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
What a trip, dude.
Just give up camping at this point. If you want to camp in your backyard. Boom.
Yeah. Yep. Don't go on hikes up snowy mountain passes. Don't go camping in the woods. Don't go
camping in Russia.
Don't go to the Pine Barrens.
Don't go to the cabin in the woods.
Don't go looking for staircases in woods. Just we as humans have spent thousands of years trying to get the fuck out of the woods. Why would you want to go back to them?
What you want trees for?
We've built cities completely rid of trees and fucking trying to get the forest farther away. Don't go out into it.
Stay like on the edge at the most.
Yeah. Avoid national parks. Avoid the Wendigo.
National parks. No caves.
Just stay in your house. You be safe.
Stay inside. That's what I do. Never leave your room.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
The government would be so proud of us right now. Yes, stay inside. Keep talking about these crazy things that we're
they're
on
watching
the
us right
you.
now, through the cameras.
Yeah, well, we trademarked that, so ahead of the fucking game.
Hello, kitty cat.
Boom. Well, hey, before we close up the podcast, man, I want to thank you for being here as my guest, AJ. It's a pleasure having you on. You're very insightful, so I hope to have you on another episode. I hope to get that crossover going.
Man, I definitely have you on. I would love to have you on. I'd love to be on more often. This was a lot of fun, man. I really had a good time.
Well, hey, man, and if you could be, an honorary pod team member. How about that?
I like that,
don't have to
man.
Be here. You don't have to be here every episode, but
okay, call me in like B string. I'll get off the bench. Is that what you're saying? I'll get some play time. Okay,
batter up.
All right, I like that. Yeah, man. I'd love to. And you're a fantastic fucking captain of this ship, bud.
I try.
Yeah, you keep everything well on track. So I'm proud of you. All right.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
I have a Baseball Banter live show coming up on December 1st, and it's going to be at Maxine's live downtown. Anybody local, if you don't know where that is, it's at 700 Central Avenue. It's on a Wednesday. It is our first live show. I have 3 opening acts, so come at 6:50. Get your drinks. The first act, they'll do 10-minute stand-up apiece, and then we'll come out. We'll do our hour-long podcast. It'll just be the show on stage in front of people. So plan to have a really good night, and it's going to be from like 7 to 9. So if you got nothing to do, come out and check it out. Follow on socials. I will start posting more promotional material for it. And come out, have a good time, chat with the guys, and have a drink. And it's just really just trying to do like a night of comedy, because we don't really have that in Hot Springs anymore.
Not at all. Yeah.
And that's all I have going on. After that, I'm going to take a month-long sabbatical from all things projects, and I'm going to take the month of December and just like clear my plate of shit. No podcast, no art, nothing, and just do like holiday family time, because I've never taken that time. So like I'm officially going to do that. So the podcast, the live show will be the last thing I do for the year, and then start back up in January.
Awesome. We've talked about that in the group chat. We're gonna take a month-long break in January, come back in February, so right after the holidays. So yeah, man, sometimes you need that recharge, especially
it's good to reset,
Thanos,
man.
Thanos of podcasts, got 5 podcasts under his belt.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah, fucking.
You froze.
Did I freeze?
Yeah,
oh God, did I freeze on the snap?
Ladies and gentlemen, I was your host, Saved by Paris, host of Another Motherfucking Podcast. I was joined by the lovely pod team, Sarah Hellburn and Sleeping Beauty in the background, Patty D. Had my guest on, AJ, host of Baseball Banter Podcast. So definitely go check that out and all of the projects that he has going. And by the time this episode comes out, it'll be on Halloween. So have a happy and safe Halloween. Check your candy. And yeah, until next time.